Hi, my name is Joy Aboyim. I'm a technical consultant. I work for Cisco and I lead the growth of our data center and cloud-related technologies in the commercial and small business segment across Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Russia. Founded in 1984, ours is the technology behind the internet, and connecting people remains at the heart of what we do, whether it is at the technological level, the social, or human level. My working day is variable. Cisco is a global company, and I sometimes start my day really early or work much later in order to engage across the time zones. Something that really motivates me about my job, and indeed the sector in which I work, is the constant change and the learning that demands. That and the power of technology and the advances in technology to transform the way we do things, the way we work, live, play and learn. Mobile technology is just one case in point. It has had dramatic effect on our personal lives and how organizations run their businesses. Interestingly enough, I had not always seen myself working in technology. Growing up, my parents wanted me to be a doctor, and as a consequence, so did I. But whilst at university studying medical sciences, I became interested in computers. Life has a way of always working out, and a few years down the line, I studied a short computing course, and the rest, as they say, is history. I was fortunate to get a job at Compaq. I'll never forget being late for the interview. I wondered if I had blown my chances, but gave it everything nonetheless. I was delighted to be called back for another interview and ultimately to be been offered the job. It was really elating. I worked for Compaq for over 10 years and saw and experienced a lot of change in that period until the big one. We merged with Hewlett-Packard, another technical tech company, on the 4th of September 2001. And we ceased operating and trading under the name Compaq. It was a big blow for me. I was very proud and loyal to the company name and brand. And so it took a lot of getting used to, a lot of readjusting. But ultimately, however, I did, and I continued to reinvent, redefine, and grow myself within the company. Life, or indeed success, is never a straight line. The most challenging period in my career, indeed my life at the time, was in 2009. I'd been headhunted, courted for a while in fact, and finally decided I'd reached the time to continue and pursue my career in another company. And so it was in the new year of 2009, after interviews and due process, I joined a company called Citrix. This was during the 2008 global financial crisis, and I guess I should have done a bit more due diligence as I made the move, but I was confident that everything was aligned and I was excited about the new chapter. Alas, however, 23 days into the new job and the company announced restructuring and redundancies. It was like a movie. I couldn't believe it was actually happening. I had over 10 years of faithful service to Compaq and Hewlett-Packard, and now in these uncertain times, I had barely a month at Citrix and was now without a job. It was a roller coaster of emotions, but I'd made the decision and I was going to make the most of the circumstance in which I found myself. I was going to reap what I called tangible benefits. Set goals, make achievements, earn accolades to show myself at the end of the drought. I was confident the drought would end and reasoned it made no sense to worry myself ill over the things that I couldn't change, and that I should rather focus on the things that I could control, on the things that I did have influence over. And so began the journey of what would be 9 months of unemployment. I did a short course in marketing, I invested in my running and my triathlon, and joined the gym where I discovered yoga and Tai Chi and other instructor-led classes. It was brilliant. I have a brilliant family. Friends and colleagues were absolutely brilliant. I got short-term contracts that meant I could, I was able to pay my bills, not lose my house or my car. If I were to give my younger self any advice, I would encourage myself. I'd say, keep pushing, keep lifting your game. Don't be afraid to be seen to be working hard for fear the results won't reflect the effort. I would say you do have what it takes, and you just might need to apply a bit more effort than the others. You might not always be the brightest, but you know how to persevere, and you certainly have staying power. I'd also remind myself to have fun. Interestingly, I tell my grown-up self the same thing.